Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mahaba and greetings around the world to people like myself who are heavily active and in favor of Palestinian rights, human rights, justice, and peace in the region of Palestine, sometimes called Israel. I'm historian and writer Dr. Jack Dempsey. Today is Tuesday, October 22nd, and I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes with some news about Palestine that was not able to come out directly. That is to say, I'm usually partnered with this man, Muhammad Jihad Ismael from Deir al-Balah in Gaza, but our signal on Zoom has not been sufficient to sustain a simple conversation or give you an idea of the conditions that they're living under. And he wanted me to send his greetings and appreciation to all the people who usually tune into our little discussions about Palestinian life, culture, history, archaeology, religion, everything you want to name under the sun. And there are about 50 odd programs with Muhammad and myself at the channel here, 37 Dionysus here at YouTube. I guess the main thing is I just wanted you to see these people, first of all. This is Muhammad, his daughter Dina, his son Jihad, also called Jojo, and also called Hollywood, because he's such a man of style, as you'll see in a moment. That's Lena and Muhammad's wife Ghada, who is now pregnant with their fourth child. And that is an astonishing fact in itself because of the conditions under which they've been living for months and months. Here's another shot or two of the kids. They are supremely lovable, adorable, sweet-tempered, and they have been through so much. They have never known freedom, but they have lived their entire lives in Gaza under conditions that would appall any human being. And this, I think, is my favorite photo of them because it speaks to me of the future that we're fighting for those three kids and thousands of Gaza children like them, Palestinian people of Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem, who are being murdered, dispossessed, starved, abused, bombed, neglected, every kind of abuse that a human being can shower on another. The Israelis have done to these people. They've been through more in their life than most of us could ever imagine going through. But that's a little bit of who they are. I felt it was important to talk to you today directly because, again, we can't get through enough to sustain a conversation with Muhammad. But he gave me some news that I think is worth knowing that you might not hear everywhere else. That's one of the things we try to do with our programs, give a point of view from Palestine that is not usually covered. Anyway, the main thing, I guess, today is there's no change except for the worse in Palestine. They are receiving almost no food, almost no water. Today, October 22nd, is about 4 days after there was a so-called dust-up in the American State Department, that office of liars, criminals, murderers, and thieves, and I'm quoting Mike Pompeo on that. Israel said, oh, okay, if you're going to condition in any way the bombs and weapons that we're using against Palestinian civilians on whether or not we deliver the food that arrives for them through humanitarian and international agencies, then we'll hurry it up. The decline of food supplies and everything coming in had been up to 50% less over the past month or two, and that aroused a lot of protest and ire. And so they made that commitment. Well, Muhammad, the first thing he told me today is food is not getting through. It's not getting through. It's not being allowed. It's there, and it is not being allowed in to reach the actual Palestinian people. They're living right now on the produce, the vegetables from their local farms, if you can believe even any of those are left after the incredibly toxic constant bombardment that they are under. They're eating down to 2 meals a day, a little something for breakfast and a little something after dusk, Muhammad says. With some financial support, they've been able to purchase some vitamins. His wife needs special vitamins, iron pills, and so forth for her pregnancy, which is due in the spring. And food, even what they can find, is incredibly expensive. So that's the main thing right now. The food is not getting through. It's worse than it's ever been. That's Muhammad's words. So every 3 days or so, he has to go out and venture into the surrounding landscape to get bottled water. I don't know if you know how heavy a case of 6 liter or 2 liter bottles of water is, but they have to walk about 4 or 5 miles, search for the water, anybody selling it, uh, buy what they can carry, and walk it the 5 miles or so back to their home. It's taking their lives in their hands because there is not only the constant random bombardment, shelling, bombs, etc., happening to them in the area of Deir al-Balah and other parts of southern Gaza, to which the northern Gazans are being driven right now. So they're trying to clear out northern Gaza completely. And that leaves the dead bodies of Muhammad's very dear friend and mentor, the poet Salim al-Nafar, under the ruins of his house, where I think a total of 13 family members with him were killed by an Israeli bomb attack in, I believe, last December. And they have never been able to retrieve their remains. So it gets worse and worse. Muhammad says they are not able to sleep because of both the bombardment, which can drop at any time, throwing shrapnel through your windows, bullets through your door. There is a civil war, most people don't realize, going on also in Gaza between families and alliances of families that are at each other's throats. Why? Because way back in the 2000, maybe 2002, 2008, when Hamas was really beginning to take over power in Gaza, they killed a lot of young Palestinian men. And their families, of course, did not forget. So now that Hamas is on the run, is being decimated by Israeli attacks, and they are forced underground or to hide among civilians, where dozens more civilians die because of them, these tyrants, these thugs, these thieves, who take all the humanitarian aid that gets in and charge their own people for it when it's clearly labeled not for sale. So they are groups of families fighting in the streets, mostly at night, with AK-47s, small arms, grenades. And in the last encounter, which I think Muhammad said was last night, 3 people were killed, 11 people were injured. So you can see why, as he also said, they're keeping the kids indoors. They're keeping their 3 children indoors full time, because at any time a chunk of shrapnel or a bullet or a bomb could drop right in their midst. That's what's going on. They're cooking over fires again. That means going out and collecting broken wood on which to build a fire where they can maybe cook a little rice, boil a little water, heat up some vegetables. They have no gas for cooking, of course, and the dangers are just manifold on every side of them. The second polio shot that his children were lucky enough to just receive is sure to help protect them from the open pools of sewage, polluted water, vast mounds of trash, uncollected, wild animals that come in to feed on it, from dogs to snakes to insects. And these creatures bite people as well and spread other diseases. So the main thing I was trying to communicate here today is simply that they're not getting the food. They're not getting anything. Israel is literally trying to starve them either to death, or I guess for them to all give up, come out from the ruins and say, oh, please do with us whatever you wish. Dig a big hole for us, whatever it might be you wish. You're the boss, you're the master here. I guess I can't imagine, other than extermination and genocide, what their goal is. And they would not be able to tell you with a straight face anyway, or with a face without shame, or at least one should hope. So I'm almost through here, but I wanted to make these facts known just so that you do know, in case you're not seeing it covered elsewhere, that Israel is not releasing any food, any water to the people of Gaza, who could not be more desperate for help. Now, with that said, my final note here, I would like to say, again, if you join me in thinking about the future of these three beautiful children, that's what Muhammad and his wife and family most have in mind when they've democratically agreed as a family to emigrate, to say to themselves, there really is no future here in Gaza for the children. And they don't want the children to grow up blaming them for their, quote, failure in having been so overwhelmingly attacked by Israel and brought low. So they're planning to emigrate. They estimate through talking with various official agencies that it would cost about $25,000 for their family of 10 to stay together and to emigrate to some country they don't even know where yet. The only country they've really been in touch with is Australia. That's how far they might have to go just to get other people to leave them alone, to stop hurting them, to stop trying to kill them. So a very brilliant activist named Aaron Nolan has started a GoFundMe for the Ismael family, and it's called Support Muhammad Ismael and His Children. Support Muhammad Ismael and His Children at GoFundMe. We estimate that if we could get only, in internet terms, 2,500 people to chip in $10 per person, then we would reach our goal and they would be able to really begin the process of trying to get out of there. So I really hope you'll look in the description below for a link, and I hope YouTube allows me to put up that link. I'm not allowed on YouTube to post simply the link with a message about how you can help them at different appropriate pages at YouTube, news, discussion, or whatever. They instantly take it down as fast as a computer will work. So they have us in the system, I guess. They don't really want to announce that there are ways for you to help Palestinian people. But the last subject is a bit of good news. The GoFundMe so far is at 15% of its goal. What do you call it? A small, not a small flood, but a small influx of people have begun to contribute wherever they can, and it's growing. And we will keep you informed of every stage of their journey, as we have from the beginning of our video programs and WordPress pages. The photos, the narratives, Muhammad's notes and observations and daily diary, as it were, from Gaza and Deir al-Balah through their journeys from Deir al-Balah to Khan Yunis to Rafah in a tent where they were sweating and freezing to death and starving, all the way through their walk 13 kilometers as a family up the coastal road back to their home, where they had determined that here we were going to live together or die together. And reality has forced another level of consideration on them to say, maybe we can emigrate and save the children. So that's what they're trying to do. But the other piece of good news is that 2 different publishers are in contact with Muhammad because they want to publish his writings. His point of view as a Palestinian is something that will really surprise you. It's not something you hear every day. He does not believe in violent struggle. He does not believe in armed conflict. He believes in a peaceful approach of constant conscience against the apartheid state of Israel. Now, I know that in 2018, that's exactly what the Palestinians tried without any support or impetus from their so-called government, Hamas, these group of thuggish, thieving parasites that have ruled over them and brought them nothing but ruin. But in 2018, the Palestinian people of Gaza tried exactly that, a non-violent protest at the gates of Gaza, at the fences, and they were shot to death by the hundreds by Israeli snipers who laughed and competed to see how many people they could cripple in a given day. Muhammad, his response to that, his whole family's response to that has never been not one word of hatred, not one word of wanting revenge. The families fighting around outside him, that's what they are looking for, revenge for their dead young men who were killed by Hamas, and now they're trying to do whatever they can to get revenge or to put out Hamas. We're not sure what it would be. But there's a couple of publishers that are looking now at Muhammad's work and working hard on his behalf we're hoping that maybe a publisher would take him up as an employee, as a writer, or at least sponsor his emigration to their country, wherever it might be, Lebanon, Egypt, excuse me, and give them a life again. So I want to thank you. Please look at the GoFundMe link below. Contribute $10 to help these people build a new life. I know that Muhammad will thank you personally, as I do. We always and really appreciate your watching these videos to find out what is going on at the ground level of Gaza. And I'm sure, or we hope at least, that the signal will be good enough to sustain a new program with Muhammad very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, my sincere thanks for your patience and your listening and for your thinking about all this today. Peace.